Hello and welcome, everyone. We are excited you're here today. My name is Robbie Dick, and I'm a member of the Control M Solutions marketing team. In a little bit, I will present a few slides covering more detail of Control M21. But before that, I want to turn it over to Flora Tramontano to start us off with the Control M21 Freedom Within the Orchestration Framework session. Flora, over to you.
Thank you, Robbie, and welcome everyone. I'm also happy to be here. I'm joining from Italy, by the way. And like Robbie said, I'm going to share with you an introduction of Control M21. Control M21 is the latest version of Control M, which was delivered just 1 month ago in September. So I will talk about the major market challenges that Control M21 seeks to address, the key themes, and I will introduce some of the key features with their value, and then Robbie will provide more details on the features. Before starting, feel free to make any questions. You can post questions on the chat, and time permitting, we will respond to your questions during the session. Otherwise, be sure that we will get back to you with answering your questions offline. So let's get started. Next. So there are 3 major market challenges and demands that Control M21 focuses on. The first relates to the technology complexity. And, this is not a new challenge, but the complexity continues to increase with the continuous emergence of new technology. And in almost every organization, the new technical teams, such as, the data engineers, the cloud architects, they are seeking to adopt modern technologies, cloud technologies, open source, because they want to improve their activity. And either they introduce these technologies by themselves, or they require IT operations to make these technologies available. Either ways, they are adding complexity to the organization's already complex technology stack. And the challenge is to turn this complexity into a competitive advantage. The second important challenge, is to accelerate operations, to deliver better results and faster, so that organizations can support the expansion of the business with the same resources, with the same assets. And then the third challenge is to manage an increasing demand for self-service access to technologies. And this demand is driven by more and more organizations that are working to eliminate the barriers between IT and the business, because they are changing their organizational structure, and they are no longer relying upon a large IT department, but they are working with small IT teams that are very well integrated with the business and share a lot of activities with the business, including the access to the technologies. So now let's see how Control M21 responds to these challenges. Next. Next slide. So Control M21 addresses the complexity challenge. Next. By expanding the orchestration framework, which means by encompassing, by integrating new technologies. Because this way, the new technologies are managed through the Control M standard approach, are automated, integrated in workflows in an easy way. And this eliminates the complexity required to manage these technologies separately. Then Control M21, next, accelerate the operations by increasing the operational efficiency. In fact, Control M21 introduces a lot of features that make operational activities faster, easier, and more secure. And then, third challenge, Control M helps organizations to eliminate the barriers between IT and the business by improving the self-service and collaboration. Actually, Control M21 helps IT operations to provide more freedom to other users. And it's not just freedom that it would turn into chaos, but it's freedom within the framework of organizational best practices that they define. So now I want to go down by one level of detail for each one of the three teams. And again, Robbie will provide more details. And by the way, we are going to touch just a few features compared to the many features that Control M21 provides. Because, 30 minutes is not enough to go through all the features, but if you want to know more, you can refer to the BMC people you usually work with, or you can find, updated manuals and a lot of Control M21 documents that we have created and made available on the web. So let's start with the expansion of the orchestration framework, which are the key features that support this team. Expansion is all about integration. It's all about integrating new technology to simplify the orchestration of modern and hybrid workflows. And we have categorized the integration in three major buckets. The first bucket relates to the integration with the data pipelines and includes a very important item, the Airflow integration, which is very beneficial for Airflow customers because they can integrate their Airflow pipelines in the wider orchestration provided by Control M and can connect Airflow pipelines with multiple applications that Airflow cannot natively connect with, and can also leverage the best of breed advanced orchestration capabilities provided by Control M. The second bucket includes integration with cloud storage services so that you can transfer files to, from, and within additional cloud repositories of your choice. And again, Robbie will provide more details, but I want to mention another capability in the context of cloud. Control M21 provides a new authentication method which is called AWS AM roles, and it's the preferred method for many AWS customers. And it also simplifies the access to AWS plugins because it decouples Control M definitions from security specification. And the third bucket includes all those integrations that are delivered through continuously monthly releases by a dedicated team. And this does not strictly relate to Control M21 because this is an ongoing activity. So it is decoupled from the Control M version. However, we want to mention this topic here because we are talking about integration, and that's an important integration topic. Let's go to the next theme. Increase operational efficiency, and let's have a glance at the key features supporting this team. Again, there are three major buckets of features: operational enhancements, new file transfer capabilities, and administration facilities. The operational enhancements include all those enhancements that make operations faster and easier and more secure. For example, the support of a new identity provider. As another example, features that accelerate the creation of workflows. For example, the folder reference, the post-processing based on variables. The next bucket includes new file transfer capabilities, and actually Control M21 adds a lot of enhancements on top of the managed file transfer and managed file transfer enterprise components that really elevate those components to a higher level where they are more integrated, more secure, more efficient, and deliver a better user experience. And then the third bucket includes features that help reducing the deployment and configuration efforts. For example, you can reduce installation efforts when you install and manage a file transfer enterprise environment, because now with just one instance, you can create multiple sites that can be useful to map, multiple geographic locations, multiple business units of an organization that has different naming conventions, different site standards, and different look and feel. You can also reduce configuration efforts by using a new centralized connection profile, the centralized connection profile for SAP. Actually, the centralized connection profiles were introduced with the Control M20 to reduce the configuration efforts associated with creating and maintaining multiple local connection profiles. And Control M21 continues with this thread by adding a new job type, the SAP job type. And you can also reduce the risk when converting your local connection profiles to centralized connection profiles, because Control M21 provides a utility that you can use to automate that conversion. And let's move to the last theme, improve self-service and collaboration. And actually, Control M21 provides more freedom, more self-service capability to business users, developers, and engineers. For example, I've mentioned the possibility for data engineers, cloud architect, to use more cloud repositories of their choice. But also developers have more choice to use the languages they prefer when they embed scripting in Control M jobs. But freedom also means that users can access Control M data and resources and capabilities through the interfaces they are familiar with, through the interfaces of their choice. And so with Control M21, business users are provided with more freedom to use Control M capabilities through the web interface and with an enhanced user experience. And in fact, the web interface is enriched with more and more Control M capabilities at every version. And developers and engineers have the freedom to use Control M capabilities through the automation API that, again, are enriched with new enhancements through continuous monthly releases. Now, while on one side, there is more freedom for use, there is more ability for administrators to delegate administrative tasks. On the other side, IT operations can more easily define the constraints, the site standard, the organizational best practices that users must adhere to. And I want to mention an important capability introduced by Control M21, the site standard policy that allows IT operations to define site standards for the organization in a more efficient and easy way. And with that, I'm giving the word over to Robbie for more details on this feature I've introduced. Robbie, please go ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Flora. Yeah, fantastic start and good overview. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail, not on every single one of those, but on a number of them. And again, as a reminder, as Flora mentioned, if you have questions, please ask them in the interface, and we might not have time at the end to get to them, but if we have some time, we will get to as many as we can. And then, of course, as Flora mentioned, we'll follow up on any that we don't. But let's take a look at a little more detail now on some of those items. So the first one I want to start with is the Airflow integration. So Airflow is as a kind of a de facto orchestration automation solution for data-heavy uses. So it is really very popular and very capable in data pipelines for data personas that are comfortable in a developer sort of role or in a coding role. So As you all know, data and data pipelines and data heavy processing is a key part of probably every single business service that you help deliver. And the integration, which exists now in version 21, allows you to the Control M users to use Control M in a way that they're familiar and comfortable with, but to involve these data heavy pipeline workflows. But all the while allowing the data professionals to still use Airflow if that is the tool that they would like to continue to use. So it really in 21 allows the integration so that right from the Control M screens, you can see here in the screenshot that we have that there's an Airflow task type. So in the Control M interface, you can see the Airflow elements and the DAGs, they're called, directed acyclic graphs. Those are the elements of jobs and workflows in Airflow. Those can be seen from the Control M interface. So all the Control M capabilities that your organization knows and loves and uses today will be available for those Airflow DAGs or Airflow elements, whether they really are standalone on their own, or more than likely they don't. They're incorporated into part of a larger set of workflows, some which may be running on your mainframe, some which may be running in your on-premise distributed environment, in your SAP environment, in your EDW environment, whatever environment you have where Control M is orchestrating enterprise workflows. With the integration, you can now also see and integrate with those Airflow workflows as well. So developers, IT operations, business users, data professionals, really everybody can use the orchestration engine they're comfortable with, but again, still getting all the benefits that Control M brings to the table: service level monitoring, web interface, integration with both modern, cloud services, as well as maybe long time system of record sort of applications and data sources as well. So version 21, very exciting, the integration with Airflow. Before version 21, there were some beginnings of integrations with Airflow, but version 21 of the Control M solution really brings it to another level to expand the orchestration framework. Flora also mentioned briefly cloud storage integrations. So here you can see, hopefully you can see the details of the connection profile. Connection profile component in Control M is basically how when you're connecting to infrastructure or data or application environment, that's the element that contains the connection information. Flora mentioned the integrations that we now have with S3 Private Link, AWS S3 Private Link, Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, and Google Cloud Storage. So those are now supported out of the box with version 21 when we're talking about using Control M managed file transfer to transfer files in an environment. It's really just as simple as defining the connection profile with the appropriate information. The modern authentication methods are supported as well. I believe Flora mentioned them, the IAM roles. So now more out of the box support for file movement and integration from the single point of control, Control M. As Flora mentioned, there's monthly releases, and that's not really specific or unique to version 21. It's been going on for a while, maybe for over a year at this point. So it's not really a version 21 specific thing. But with that said, the pace will continue. It's not going to slow down, and many of the integrations involve cloud services. So the continuous monthly releases, there's on average 2 or 3 integrations that are released every month. That's been the case for months and will continue to be the case. So here you see just in this calendar year, the listing of integrations that have been released. Flora mentioned there's a dedicated development team for these integrations, and many of them are cloud, but specific or focused, but really it's any integration is available. So input is gotten in many ways received from our customers and prospects, and from BMC resources that are working with the customers and prospects to kind of affect this list and to promote integrations in the near future. But it's very exciting, 2 or 3 integrations every month for bringing new supported job types in the Control M environment. So again, not specific to version 21, but will continue for quite some time. Okay, let's take a look at a few more items here. Operational enhancements. So we looked at a few of expanding orchestration framework, but now operational enhancements that we might think that we think are of a specific interest and excitement to groups in the organization. And one of those in version 21 is IDP SAML 2.0 support. It's a little bit difficult to say, but it's pretty simple, hopefully, to describe. So basically, I think the best way to describe this in version 21 is that it allows the security team in your organization to focus and concentrate on security the way they want to do it, and it gets you, the Control M administrators, the Control M users, out of the business of security. And I think that makes everyone happy. So basically, what we're talking about here, as long as you have an IDP solution that supports SAML 2.0, think Okta. There's a number of others, but I think Okta is the predominant one. Basically, we have out-of-the-box integration now as of version 21 with that. So the single sign-on, enhanced security, multi-factor authentication that those solutions bring to the table now very easily can be integrated and is supported out of the box with your Control M users and environment. So IDP SAML 2.0 support in version 21. Another operational enhancement we think will maybe not be used every second of the day, but is nice when you need it, and that's the folder job reference item. So what we're talking about here is when you're defining a job or a folder or a smart folder or an element, you can turn on the reference option as of version 21, and then you give that element a name. At that point, if you want to use those elements or that element, that workflow elsewhere in your environment, you simply can do that by referring to the name that you gave the original item. So no longer do you need to make a copy and then have additional folders or smart folders and all the negative ramifications that potentially go with that. So let's say you had one job before or a flow and you wanted to use that in multiple spots, you would likely make multiple copies of that. Well, what happens now if you want to make a change to one of those or to the original? You would have to also then make that change to all the additional copies that you made, introducing a lot of time and, quite honestly, the chance for error and just a lot of manual effort. With the folder job reference now, you don't have to do that anymore. It eliminates the redundant copies of those folders or job, and with a reuse name that allows you to now refer to that original element multiple times. If you need to make a change to the original element, you do that, and then that automatically applies to all the in all the areas that you refer to that original element. So it's again, I don't think you'll use it all day every day, but it's be a big time saver and risk reduction when you do use it. That's the folder job reference option in version 21. Then another operational item that I want to mention is the post-processing actions based upon a job variable. So here what we're talking about is the ability to automatically interrogate the value of a variable, and depending on the value of that variable after the job run, take an action. So let's say that there's a job that you have that runs multiple times a day, an hour, whatever the case may be. But let's say it's every hour, it's cyclic, and there's a variable used inside of it, and that you want that job to continue its cyclic running every hour until the variable resolves to XYZ, let's say, or Saturday, or whatever value you care to check for. You can say, basically, when this variable resolves to that value, stop the cyclic nature of the job or order in another job. So there's 7 or 8 actions, the post-processing actions that you're familiar with today are available to you, and you can take those now automatically based upon the action of a variable. So post actions based upon variables. A couple other items in operational efficiencies, and I think we have a few more minutes here. So I'll speed up the pace just a little bit, but the new file transfer capability. So I already mentioned the new cloud integrations that you see listed there on the left. There's also some number of increased security and authentication capabilities. TLS 1.3 support is just one of the many enhanced or upgraded or supported security algorithms now. There's a large list. You can refer to that in the product documentation or in the what's new section on the web page, but there's a lot of security enhancements, a number of security enhancements specifically in managed file transfer as well. You now have the ability to allow or block users from accessing the FTP server that you may be using in your environment. You have new options if the destination file already exists for adding timestamps, hour, minute, second, millisecond. So those are new options for destination file actions. PGP we've supported in the past, but we've added the ability to support more or enforce more PGP operations that may be required. We, just as in the past, we don't bring the PGP encryption environment to the environment. That's something that you're responsible for, but you can easily configure it, and now you have the ability to enforce more PGP options. And with managed file transfer, there's also a new simple to use web interface for internal business users. So before you would have had to use something like FileZilla or the like. You can still do that, but now there's a built-in simple web interface for those users to perform, manual or interactive self-service capabilities. Multiple file upload, downloading, viewing all the folders they're secured to see. It's fantastic. And then in Managed File Transfer Enterprise, there's a lot of detail here. I'll only spend one or so minutes here at most, just because we have a couple minutes left. But the ability for external partners that are involved in file transfers, the ability to automatically generate passwords with complexity rules that you can turn on or off, the ability to require them to change their password at next login or every 90 days or 30 days, whatever the case may be. That's all available to you now as the Managed File Transfer Control M Administrator in the environment with Managed File Transfer Enterprise. Those external users also have an updated web interface. That web interface existed before in prior versions, but it's been significantly enhanced with tree views and multiple file selections. You can apply your own branding to that interface, whereas before it really looked like a kind of a hardcore Control M screen. Now you can apply your own branding so that it's has the look and feel that you want. And with 21, you also have the ability to install MFTE sites. So per Control M server, you can define hubs and gateways so that if you have site-specific branding or different LOB rules or settings that you want to do, you can do that in a single MFTE installation. And then really, I think my last slide, framework for collaboration and control for kind of involving more users and improving self-service. We've enhanced the role-based administration, which started a couple years ago. That host groups are now an added element in that environment. So it can give groups more autonomy than ever before to manage their own environments. Scripting, embedded scripts, I don't think it's used again all day, every day, but embedded scripts now support more languages. VB script, PowerShell, Perl, and Python are supported embedded script language options. And then site standard policies are also a nice addition in version 21. Site standards have existed. They continue to exist for, I think, since version 18 or 19, but policies now allow you to be more implicit in site standards as opposed to explicit. Before, you had to specifically define this user had to use this policy. You can still do that. This site standard. But with site standard policies, now you can write kind of rules to say these policies apply, or these site standards apply to everyone or to all users that have a certain, or folders that have a certain, start with a certain 3-digit characters or the like. So site standard policies in version 21. So With that, I think we're out of time, but I want to thank you very much. Again, if you're looking for any more details on Control M21, reach out to your BMC or partner contacts or look online at the documentation or the What's New website. With that, thank you very much for attending. We hope you have a great exchange.